It's like, fuck, you know? Well, I just learned a lesson. If I'm streaming and I get a phone call, just let it ring and don't hit the red button of canceling, because that just freezes everything. I actually don't know if that one's saved either. It wouldn't let me end the stream properly. So for those of you who just gave me all those super chats, just wait, I guess, and see if that went through, because I'm not sure what's going to happen with any of that. Anyway, where were we? Bernie Sanders?
Yeah. Corporate America is running this country. But I highly urge you to take your vaccines and to pledge your allegiance to the top leading criminal pharmaceutical agencies. They know what's best for you. I think that blacks in America should get the vaccine first. That is what I think.
It's saved? All right, cool. Thanks, Grace Bear. Did it save? Okay.
Look, folks, the people who need economic support and medical support the most are young black females. We need to give them the support that Big Pharma and people like Bill Gates offer today. The good thing about the 1% is that they develop programs, products, and services that cater to the needs of the young black female who wants to eliminate her children. In all fairness and equality, we think that young black females should have first dibs on slaughtering their own children.
Stream got, it really didn't get grabbled, thankfully. It's I got a phone call, and I actually, instead of, for those of you who ever stream like this, just when you get a phone call, don't touch it. Don't hit the red button to say cancel, because it'll just freeze everything. So but it looks like it's saved, so that's good. For hopefully for those, it doesn't mess up any of your guys' transactions you made. Can you do an Owen Benjamin impersonation? I haven't actually practiced that. I could probably do something. Hey, Jimbob, can you do a weekly stream with Owen? We could probably do something like that. I mean, we discussed potentially going on unauthorized. I don't know what that means for me. I mean, obviously for me, I want to move over fully into a platform where I could actually use my skills and make the art that I do and make it a job, really. So I'm not sure how unauthorized works. I love that system, and they do live streaming there, which is cool. And they have, you know, good people. They have all sorts of good people there. So I think I would consider that. It's pure evil. Don't touch it. Have you noticed empty shelves? No. Not really, no. You should watch Mirage Men. It's about how the government spreads disinformation about aliens. That makes total sense to me. I mean, the whole thing to me is a disinformation platform. It serves them so well to get people all, you know, bonered up for aliens. It makes so much sense to do that to people, you know. It makes sense. I gotta take a dump. I've never seen Whoopi Goldberg and Lil Wayne in the same room at the same time. I'm just saying. Could we go to commercial break? I gotta take a dump. What if Mirage Men is different disinformation about disinformation? Totally possible. Sends you into epistemic nihilism, which is why you shouldn't really chase stuff. You should just take things at the surface and be like, well, could be. It could be. The news said if you're fully V'd, then wear a mask to prevent the spread. Yeah, exactly. The Delta. I've got a fun meme coming up tomorrow about the Delta. Pretty funny how it's funny how effective all of this is on people. It's impeccable planning, I gotta say. They did a nice job in the design, in the marketing department for Karunka Worldwide headquarters. This is Karunka Worldwide headquarters. How may I help you? Hi, this is Plandemic Inc. Corporation. How may I help you? Oh, would you like to be directed to the marketing department? They handle all of the spread of information to all of the masses of sheep. 1 second. Thanks for the great stream, Jim Bobs. Love you, Megan, and the girls. Thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate you. Thank you. When do you find time to draw? Well, honestly, I mean, let's face it. Like, look at my drawings. When you ask, how do you find time? I think you mean, how do you find 5 minutes to draw? It takes a lot longer, honestly, to think of the memes and to edit them down and to choose the wording for them than it does drawing them. But yeah, mostly at night. The kids go to bed now at like 10 o'clock. Oh, those girls. Those girls ever tried graffiti? Not really. I've done murals before, though. I was actually being serious. Yeah, it's just late night after the kids. Or I used to wake up much earlier, and that's for those of you who are creative, you know, drawing, writing, reading, any kind, playing music, even not loud music, obviously. But my recommendation is to wake up really early. And here's why, because if you do work a day job and you do have a family or a combo of either or, if you do all of your work, your creative work in the morning, the early morning, there's no possibility of sort of irritability or resentment toward the latter half of the day when you've worked, you've come home, you need to eat, you need to do this, you need to do that, you want to spend quality time with your family and your loved ones. There's no possibility of resentment in thinking, well, now you guys are in the way of me working. I don't get any time to do my thing, you know? I don't get any, there's no time. And then you're grumpy and then you have to wait until like midnight to do something. Well, if you do it in the morning, whatever your reps are, writing, reading, playing guitar, playing the flute, whatever it is, whittling sticks, do it in the morning because it's done. It's said and done. You did your reps. There's no irritability or blame or resentment ongoing throughout the day, and you started your day creatively. It's an amazing way to battery power your day. It really is a great thing to do. You're a great artist. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you think there's something to natural law? No, I don't. There's nothing divine about natural law. Natural law is simply cause and effect. What is? Natural law is simply this behavior produces this result, if you're really just honest about it. So natural law doesn't ground morality. There's actually no metaphysics found in nature. There's nothing clearly that in nature that grounds any of the transcendental category. So yeah, I reject natural law. Natural law exists. There is a law of nature. There is what is. There are these things, but they don't give you an ought. They don't give you any of the divine energies of God at all. It's just what is. That's why you can't ground morality or what we can and can't do or shouldn't do based in natural law. Jimbob, how do you get over lust and porn addiction? Well, porn addiction, you just have to realize the impact it might have on your relationship is a good place to start. Realizing that you're basically responding to a delusion with a reward chemical response. It'd be like interacting with a total illusion of something in reality and then shooting up heroin every time you interact with an illusion. And then you're training your body to want an illusion. And so, I mean, in addition to the moral aspect of it, you know, just realize pragmatically you're just training yourself like a dog to pursue illusions with the reward of a chemical response. It's really simple. And it's not a good thing to do that. So, but as far as lust, like, you know, lust is one of the sins. It's up there with greed or any of our appetites. And even if you quit, it might help reduce your lust, but lust is something you're going to experience. It's something you're going to experience. So it's not that you eliminate lust, it's that you recognize it for what it is, and you use your own willpower to have your behaviors stay within the realm of the law, you know. And so that's a practice, you know. That's a practice, and we all have it. We all have our appetites. I have my appetites. Everyone has their weaknesses, and they could be in any given category, and that's just one category. But it all represents the same thing, which is our sinful nature we're born into, and our vulnerability to our appetites, our physical, our worldliness, the things of the flesh. And so pursuit of the things of the flesh and having them fully dominate you is just as sinful and as pursuing justice in the flesh. You know how like evil is not a game of flesh and blood? You know, it's powers and principalities. It's because you can't kill off the lust. That's like when people like can't handle their own behavior, they feel so valueless and so out of control that they sometimes commit suicide or hurt themselves or whatever. But the same pursuit people try to do, try to pursue, like trying to have justice in the world, like trying to heal the world, trying to get rid of evil. If we just kill all of these people or those people or whatever it is, it's a very similar pursuit. And so you want to look at it theologically, you know, when it really comes down to it, and realize what you're interacting with. And don't fetishize it as if it's somehow peculiar or different than the other sins, which are all part of a larger paradigm called worldliness. It's all worldliness, whether it's drinking, whether it's any of your addictions, any of your violent nature, your rage, your wrath, your vengeance. It's all, those are in a way somewhat, they're different, but they're all in a way interchangeable because they're all still within that same realm or pursuit. So also don't shame yourself too much, because you'll start to build that as the positive feedback response, and then, you know, you don't get anywhere, you know. I thought classical liberals believed in natural law was from God. Well, the early classical liberals, some of the, I think it was like Mises or Kant even, they knew that these things had to be grounded transcendentally. But the modern version of classical liberalism, I mean, not so much. I know like a Dennis Prager, these things have to come from God. Like he acknowledges it, but he still ends up pushing liberalism poison onto the masses because he's special. You have encouraged me to, Machine Bear says, you have encouraged me to get back into drawing. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. It's awesome. You know what's interesting is that my entire account, the 7 years it took to build to 109,000 followers and then get deleted a couple days ago, it all started from me, me and Megan sitting there and just deciding, hey, what if I just drew every day? Like, it wasn't, let's build a cultural, political, satirical comic thing that becomes fun and popular and all this stuff. It wasn't. It was just the reps. It was just draw one comic every day. Draw something every day, and that's all it was. And it's really interesting that the being prolific has nothing to do with the actual content. Prolific literally means you're proliferating, you're working, you're doing output. And so when you get back into drawing, all you got to do is keep the reps up and it'll start morphing into something. You'll start to say something that's in you that it now comes through the work, whether it's music or writing or drawing. And all of a sudden you realize what your gift is. And that practicing your gift is an act of honor, or in my view, potentially worship. I could be committing some level of heresy in that, but it just occurs to me that using and practicing and mastering your gifts in honor of the creator who gave you them is a form of like worship. It's and to me that's really cool. That's a really fun, freeing, joyful way of looking at worship.
Yes. Worship? Yeah.
Do you have any old impressions you used to do before JP and BS came along? Yeah. I mean, I used to do like, Johnny Depp. Oh, I'm so beautiful that I feel bad for people when I take photographs of them. It's like I signed a deal with the devil. He said if you'll be eternally youthful if you do 17 pirate movies. Johnny Depp kind of sounds like Barack Obama. I'm painting right now. Awesome. Suburban Symbolism. Check out his stuff. I own one of his originals, I'm happy to say. Been watching William Lane Craig. Yeah, he's got some cool... He smashes some people. He definitely demolished Sam Harris. I don't think Sam Harris is making many moral arguments anymore. I think I've got a knockdown argument. To say that what is Ben Shapiro's opinion of PCR test?
The PCR test is the standard, is the golden standard, the golden standard. I've got a golden standard. It's a going standard. I mean, what it does. It's an amazing machine. I mean, if only the inventor was still alive to talk about it, he would be like, "Wow, I am so proud of this machine. All the lives that it saves by diagnosing people with the COVID. It's like he saved so many lives. It actually moves me to tears because, Carrie Mullis invented the PCR test, and it was like, that came out of the free market, folks. I mean, this is what we get. This is the highest, the gold standard of all medical equipment, folks. I actually bought one myself. It was like, I wanted to look inside my body and say, what is in there? What is in there? And it turns out I'm actually part leprechaun. I really didn't buy into evolution until the PCR test came along and said, well, after 50 cycles, it looks like I'm actually part leprechaun. So, I mean, you could listen to the experts, folks, or you can listen to YouTube. And I definitely recommend the former over the latter, folks.
Hey, Jordan, how do you feel the narrative meets the objective reality, Max, for $5? Well, thank you, Max, for asking that, It's like, You know, what's interesting about that question is that the meeting of the narrative, you know, and the objective reality can only be experienced by the narrative, you know? It's a little bit self-referential, if you know what I mean. It's like, how do we know they meet? We don't. Thought I accidentally subs to the Daily Wire. Oh, you can follow them. It's you see what they're spouting. It's good to see what they're spouting. You know, it's like I could never find the man in the canoe. You know, I have this terrible dream. Actually, that would be more like a Ben Shapiro dream.
Like, I don't know about nightmares. I actually don't know how to discern them from a normal dream. It's like, what's the difference? It's like, what's the difference, folks? It's like, am I scared or am I happy or excited? I mean, is there really a difference between excitement and fear? I don't think so. Anyway, I have this ongoing dream or nightmare, and it's like, I can't tell what it means, you know, and it's like I'm in search for the man in the canoe. And it's like, you know, where's the man inside the canoe? And it's like, I can't find it. And it's like, I don't know why my wife is off to the right, you know, on the ravine, and she's laughing at me the whole time. And it's like, it's actually humiliating, and I don't know why. It's like, what is she laughing at? It's like, why am I trying to find a man in the canoe anyway? It's like, I don't even like water or anything wet. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, anything that's moisture, like, even the term moist is like, ugh, it makes my little tummy hurt so bad. And it's like, why, folks? Why, gang? And it's like, I'm not really into, like, you know, psychotherapy or anything like that, or like dream analysis. I think it's like hocus pocus, mostly bogus, you know? And it's like, you know, it's like, but still, there's something really like, you know, alluring about trying to figure out what that means. I mean, I keep having the same dream over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like, man in the canoe, where is he? I can't find him. Wife is laughing, man in the canoe, over and over. It's like, why is my canoe on dry land? It's like, that defeats the purpose of having a canoe. It'd be like, you know, it's like, you know, if I had a canoe on land, I would just put wheels on it, and it would be a different thing. It'd be like an off-road canoe, which isn't a terrible idea, to be honest, but it's like, why in my dreams, everything's always dry? Folks.
Jimbob needs a handkerchief. That would be really funny, actually. Don Pettit. Yeah, you guys could ask Don Pettit a question.
Oh, the canoe is a metaphor? I mean, I'm not really good at metaphors. I don't like poetry. I mean, I do not deny the effect that poetry has had culturally over the last 500 years on society, and definitely in a positive way. But the thing is, I'm just not really interested in it, folks. Fox.
What else, you guys? Hey, Don, has the cupola been sealed?
Well, you could, when we're in space, you could see the stars and the lights. And I think your question is, if we're up in space and there is some sort of breach in the system, what do we do? First I would think that there is some protocol that the astronauts or the cosmonauts have that they do. Seal off the cupola is one of those things, and I think they put some super glue, and not your ordinary super glue you get at the store, is special NASA super glue, and they probably do. They probably tape off the cupola, and then they run their their protocols and their emergency systems. And that is what, and here's the short answer: good engineering. How do you spend your time in space? That is, space could be very much. Space could be much of a joke if you're not prepared to, with humor, and to understand the joke that you're a part of. Space could be very difficult. Um, when I'm in space, I often do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of looking out at the beautiful universe and the cosmos, and I think about what the future holds with space travel, and I think about recruitment and how many other autistic children we can farm. Zodiacal lights. You can see what else? You can see Mars. You can see Orion. You could see
Wait, I thought you can't see stars from space.
no. There are different opinions about that.
Baldwin Bear 199. Ben, have you ever slept on poor people?
Well, yeah, I mean, not by choice. Actually, only by choice. Sorry. I grew up rich. I never, like, thankfully, my parents were great. I mean, out of all the things they taught me, they said, always sleep on rich people's sheets. Always wear expensive clothing. I mean, whatever you do, you want to feel the part. So no. And the one time I actually did that was at a summer camp. And it was like, it wasn't even a poor people's summer camp. It was a summer camp on economics. I mean, not many people get to go to a summer camp based on economics alone. And I'm one of those lucky people. I was only 4 or 5 years old. But I strictly remember. I mean, I was laying there in bed, and it was bedtime. It was about 6:30 p.m., which is still my bedtime. And I was laying there, and I was like, "Oh, mommy, I want to go home now." I mean, I love economics, and I love summer camp, and I love the combination of the two. But the thing is, I want to go home. My little tummy hurts so bad. And I remember specifically looking down and going, these are filthy sheets. I mean, they're itchy, they're yucky, and they make my tummy hurt. And I was like, I'm never coming here again. But ironically, I was at economic camp, summer camp for economists. It was great. My camp counselor was Paul Krugman. Definitely someone I vehemently disagree with today, but nonetheless, I respect him as a camp counselor. Great pair of shorts, great runner, and he taught me some of the basics of canoeing.
Ben, how many jabs are too many?
Well, I mean, as many as it takes, as many as it takes, The thing is, you want as many jabs as possible until they look inside your bloodstream and say, hey, there's no viruses here. That is as many jabs as you need. I mean, I look at jabs like the same way like the bar exam. It's like as many times as it's possible. I mean, as many times as necessary until you pass it. It's the same thing with deadly diseases. Facts. Gang. Listen, gang.
All right, you guys, I got to wrap this up. Thank you all for the super chats, especially the big amount that came in the first stream, which I think you guys said saved, which is good. But it looks like this is kind of a cool thing. I might have to like figure out how to print up topics and things I could show in front of the screen, because it's fun to do that. It's fun to show dumb comments from Instagram, make fun of people. But I'll have to play around with it. But I do like this format. It's cool. It doesn't have everything I want, but we can figure it out. Cody Graham, $4.99. Thanks a lot. Jim Bob, can you explain why homosexuality has no foundation, or why I believe it's immoral? Well, I believe it's immoral because it's an act. It's an act against God's creation, in other words, and it's logically incoherent. So, for someone to say I'm sexually attracted to the same sex, to me is equivalent to saying I'm sexually attracted to a bridge. You can't have sex with the same sex. Two women can't have sex and two men can't have sex. The even aside the moral argument, just biologically, it's a misnomer. You can't have sex. So if you're attracted to someone or something that you actually can't have sex with biologically, like factually, you can't do it, then something's off in the logic. That there's something off in the thinking. And it doesn't mean that you don't really have those feelings or attract, those firing in your brain. That might be very real, but that's different. What you feel as an impulse and whether or not it's morally good or even logically coherent or accurate are two different things. Otherwise, you have to accept anybody. It's just like, no, I'm just attracted to children, or no, I'm attracted to objects. I want to have sex with a bunny. Like, whatever it is, you have to realize that there are logical consequences and there are moral consequences, and both can be argued pretty reasonably. I mean, just look at like marriage and stuff between the same sexes. It's like they inevitably have to mimic the standard. One ends up being the strong, manly one, whether it's a man or a woman. One ends up mimicking the female, man or a woman. And then they inevitably have to outsource their procreation. It's like, that's how you know they're still in pursuit of God's standard, of the biological standard, of the truth, but it's inverted. There's always an inversion. And I think we've come in time, and it's not new, it's like, but we've come around the bend again, where culturally progress is seen as accepting all forms of bending the truth. That's not progress. So it's like identifying what is the beginning of truth. And so, yeah, I reject that two men could have sex, and I reject that two women can have sex, because they can't have sex. So how could they be homosexual if they can't actually have sex with the same sex? It makes no sense.
You're so hateful.
Anyway, I gotta go. Thanks again. I'll probably try this tomorrow again on YouTube. Seems to be a fun thing. But I'm home tomorrow, so I'll probably use the computer so I can try to refer to some pictures and whatnot. But it's actually pretty fun to do on the phone, by the way. All right, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for everyone who super chat. I really appreciate you guys coming in full support after my 7-year stint on Instagram, and all of that built was just removed. But that just shows you it was never there. What's there is you guys. That's the only real foundation. It's just you guys. It always was you guys. It never was the system. It's never the system. So anyway, appreciate, love you guys. Bye.